Hello and welcome to another series on Android Studio. Today we're going to look into debugging. So normally for debugging we use class log to check for our value, and also if we want to check if our logic is correct or not. So let's consider the following application. So this is just a simple button with number input, and inside the programming here we have two components, button OK and also for the number ed number. And for the button OK, I implemented on click listener, and for the click operation override method we get the value that user enter from the input number. Okay, so log normally used together with Logcat. So Logcat allow us to log our application to check if the value or if the operation that we perform follow our requirement or not. So for example here, I would like to have this program to print out an if statement to check if the number that user enter is more than 20 or not. So if num is bigger than 20, so we just toast number is bigger than 20. We toast again number is smaller than 20. So if you run this application, and for Logcat to work, the application need to contain no error at all. So it can only be used not for syntax error, because in syntax error you cannot even run the application, but only for logic error. You want to check the logic of your application. So for this, you can see that the application can accept input number. So let's say 12. When we press this button, it shows number is smaller than 20. So normally this is okay. But if somehow you cannot get the operation correct and you would like to check, for example, the variable here, so you can just place this log, and you need to put tag. The first one is tag, log dot. You can choose either to have error log, debug log, or info log. So for example here we like to check for debug log. So for debug log you can just use log.d. So you can put num as your tag here, because this is important. If you like to easily search your log in your application through the Logcat, it is easier to filter using the tag that we put it here. And then you want to check the variable, so num value is plus num, and then you close that. Alright, so to use log, you need to access your Logcat down here, this section, and then you need to make sure that you select your emulator or your Android devices, or your Android device, and the application itself, and set this to debug, because we use debug code, debug option. Right, so run this and run on your AVD or on your real device, and wait for the application to complete installing into your AVD. And Now we try to use this. Let's say I put 19. So when we press this button, it will shows number is smaller than 20. However, from the debug view, you can search for your input. If it is too many, you can always use num. Now you can see your debug information is stated here. So this is debug option. If you use info or verbose or error, so those also can be used. So it is very, very important for debugging, checking your programming logic. You can see num value is 19, exactly as this. Num value is, and the value of the variable that we declare here. So this is the tag, and it says that this is D, means that this is debug. If you change to E, it will turn to error. But you need to select on this, or you want to make it as a verbose. But for verbose, the Logcat will basically show everything, all the operation running in your AVD or in your device. So this is basically how you use log. Okay, so log dot the type of log that you like to use, the tag that for you later easily identified this, and then the variable that you like to check, or you just like to check that if the operation basically enter this section or enter the other section, just to check your code if the operation successfully enter that programming particular section. So it should be easy for you to use and for you to debug your application, to check that your programming logic. Alright, so with that quick tip, I hope that this video can help you to develop more application. So with that, thank you and happy coding. Bye bye.